This really is an incredible museum. There are quite a few museums in the world that I really want to visit, and one of them is here in Toulouse, and it's the Aeroscopia, the Airbus Museum, and it's just behind me. How cool is that? They've got, well, there's a Concorde outside, there's one inside as well, and there's lots of other large aircraft and historic aircraft in there, and the history of Airbus. And I'm really looking forward to having a wander around, seeing what they have on display, and perhaps going inside some of the larger aircraft, including a Super Guppy, the big transporter, one of the early transporters. And of course they have the Belugas and the FWXXL. So I'm looking forward to sort of going inside one of those and having a look around and just immersing myself in aviation. And I can see they've got an Airbus A400M outside, which is the new transporter. I guess that might be the test aircraft that's on display outside. But I'm gonna have a fun day today exploring the Airbus Museum, Aeroscopia. Museum, and I'm inside the Super Guppy. This is so exciting. I just love visiting large aircraft. Oh my goodness me. The size of this thing. Oh, I just look on the ground and see where all the pallets used to be loaded in, all the cargo. Very, very cavernous. Absolutely massive. Quite a few small aircraft on the ground, and even a Lego starfighter from Star Wars. The next big jet ahead is an A300B. I've never actually flown on an A300. It's one of the first of the large jet aircrafts produced by Airbus. Always travelled on Boeings and on Gulf Air TriStars, which is Lockheed. So I've never actually travelled on one. So looking forward to going inside and having a look. The craft looks so impressive when you get close up to them. And this one really is. It's quite a nice design. General Electric engines, a nice slender body, and quite a distinctive nose as well. So I'm going to find a way into that. But what they do have here is the prototype Concorde. So let's go inside and take a look at that. In 1979, Heathrow to Bahrain, scheduled British Airways Concorde. So happy memories to walk through this. This is actually the prototype, but it's still got some seating here, as you can see. I guess that might be the first class seating. And at the back, there's more seating as well. It's not much wider than an underground train, a metro train, but it's really interesting to walk through it. See the overhead lockers. And all the equipment in here for the original test flights. Absolutely, really exciting to see these early prototypes. Just think of the design and the intuition that went into actually building them. Getting it test flown and certified. And all those brave test pilots of the Concorde, Brian Trubshaw and André Turcat here in Toulouse, tested the aircraft. Absolutely brilliant. But the A300 is the next aircraft, so let's go and take a look at that. Just as I walk in, they've opened up the flight deck area. See behind me. Always interesting to see the flight deck of an aircraft. Been on quite a few aircraft of them when I was younger, flying down to Bahrain. Been on the flight deck of a 747, and of course the Lockheed TriStar, and even went onto the flight deck of Concorde and saw the curvature of the Earth from 60,000 feet. That was an absolute privilege to get up there. Back in the 70s you could. Today you can't. The flight decks are sealed. This front section here, they've removed the internal panelling so you can see the windows and the insulation. They've removed the floor and put a glass panel so you can look through and see the storage containers where all the luggage would have gone, plus all the wiring for the fuel, the electrics and the piping for the fuel as well. Really interesting to see that. And this is parts of an aircraft the passengers just don't see. Moving a little further down and towards the cabin. They've preserved the cabin here. Very basic seating. In this section of the cabin, I guess they are showing, I can see more seating further down, so I guess they're showing different types of seating here. But it's certainly more luxurious back in the 1970s and early 80s, flying in economy compared to some of the budget airlines today. And it's interesting looking at the screen at the top, where the front part is a projector. When I used to fly down to Bahrain on the TriStars, it was a digital projector. It was just a light projector, projected in 3 colours. You can see the green, the reds and the blues. And they formed the colour image on a screen. Very basic. And the headphones, they weren't electronic in those days. It was piped air, piped sound through tubing. You listen through a hollow tube. How things have changed. It's interesting to see this seating here. Walk a little further down. Luxury first class seating. Now, I've sat in seats like this. Gulf Air had something very similar back in the 70s. And I remember travelling first class. I got an upgraded. I don't know how I was upgraded, but I was upgraded to first class. The only time I've done it is first class. I was too young to drink champagne. About 12 years old. But I was well looked after. And luxury seating. Oh dear, those were the days. Those were the days. And through here, oh, this looks like it's a concept. They put in a conference table. Obviously had ideas of a private jet, business travel. So they've done this out rather tastefully. And at the back here's a bedroom. Oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that lovely? Let's see, it's a little more luxurious than some hotels that I've stayed in. It's really rather nice actually. Got travelling a long distance, you're an executive traveller or head of state, prime minister. You'd stay in something like that, and a nice kitchen area at the back. And there's a bathroom here as well, with shower. Well, well, well. They thought of everything in those days. It's so interesting to walk through here. And I say I never flew on a A300B. I guess they weren't being operated by the airlines that I flew on, which was largely Gulf Air and British Airways. And of course, when I flew to Hong Kong regularly, again, that was a 747-400 Boeing aircraft. So I haven't flown much on Airbus. But really interesting to see the inside of this aircraft. Now let's go and see what else we can find here in the museum. I'm currently standing underneath the Concorde. I've never done that before. Walked under a few aircraft, but not a Concorde. Really interesting to see the underneath of the aircraft. You can see the housing for the jet engines, 2 Rolls-Royce Olympus engines under each wing, and the enormous landing gear as well. This is really exciting to see all of this. Because when you fly, of course, you don't actually see all the underneath of the aircraft, the landing gear, and the A300 as well, and the enormous engine that's on the wing, one on each side. Massive General Electric engine. See the landing gear. It's not that much bigger than the Concorde, really, in terms of size, but it's still really impressive to see it. Just reach up and touch the bottom of the aircraft. Yeah, very low to the ground. Absolutely fascinating. And up the back is the Super Guppy. Look at the size of this thing. Take a closer look at that Lego Starfighter. It's amazing what they can build with Lego these days. Lego's come a long way since my day. Absolutely brilliant. And this thing is absolutely huge. Oh, my goodness me, look at those engines and the size of the fuselage. So only you're standing underneath it, you get a sense of the scale and the size of this aircraft. It's only when you look inside the underneath of the aircraft, all the workings, you see just how complicated the actual design is. And even the power plant in this aircraft seems to be made by Boeing, which is interesting. Right, and now underneath the propeller of the aircraft. This is why I like aviation museums. You can get up close to the aircraft and see things you don't normally see when visiting an airport. But let's see what else they have here and keep exploring this fantastic museum. Made my way outside. And the first aircraft I come to is an ATR 72-600. I've flown on the 800 series down from Belfast to Cardiff a few years ago. One of my modes of transport as I travelled around the capitals of the United Kingdom in 24 hours. It's a little windy today, and one of the ailerons on the wing is actually moving on its own accord. The aircraft is actually tethered to the ground, otherwise it would probably lift in these windy conditions here. You can see the front of the aircraft there, it's got a cargo door fitted and a 6-bladed propeller as well. Really interesting to see these in museums, especially items that I've flown on in the past. But really interesting to see the aircraft. But what I've come down here to see is the A380, and this is absolutely enormous. Total Goliath of the sky. The only thing that's bigger than this There's the Antonov Mirror, the 225. This is just huge. You can see the size of the wheels, 20 on the back and 2 on the front, and the size of the fuel tank underneath the fuselage and to the wings. Massive, absolutely massive. Oh, and the engines as well. The biggest engines on any commercial aircraft. Really are quite something to look at. But I'm going to go inside and take a look. I've never been in one, I've never flown in one, and it is something I want to do. But to go out and see one in a museum, for me, is just as exciting. So let's go inside and have a look. This aircraft is massive on the inside as well. Oh, my goodness me. This is the flight deck. I've never seen the flight deck in an A380. I probably never will again unless it's in a museum. Captain's seat on the left, first officer on the right. See the pedals for the rail, for the rudder and the brakes. Engine controls in the centre. The autopilot up above in the middle. And everything else on the screens in front. It looks rather complicated. And the crew rest area as well behind. Look down the floor, you can see all the cabling for all the controls. Again, people don't realise when you fly on a commercial aircraft, you see the nice side of things, the decor. But what's behind that decor is miles and miles of cabling. Fuel pipes, hydraulic pipes, they all run under the floors and in between the panelling and the windows. There's so much inside. People just don't realise. But it's absolutely incredible to see it. Just how complex these machines actually are. But let's head up the stairs and see what's up here. This particular aircraft is the test aircraft that Airbus used. So it's been fitted out with the concept in mind, different types of seating and cabin layouts. They had grandeurs of having casinos and things on the aircraft and showers for everybody. But at the end of the day, whatever they plan, it's the passenger side of things which makes the airlines money. If nobody gambles, nobody spends in the bars, because that's what happened in the 1970s. You had an upstairs bar, but if people didn't spend any money in there, the airlines didn't make any money. Far better to fill these spaces with as many seats as possible. And it's a very basic looking seating here. I've flown on some budget airlines, some good, some indifferent, but I've never flown on seating as basic as this. I know airlines are looking for ways to reduce costs and talking about standing seats, but I don't think that will catch on either. A normal two-tier seating in a single aisle cabin either. But they've created a nice little lounge up here. Really is very pleasant. Can't sit on the seats. This is probably as close as I'm going to get to sitting in a private jet. But although you never know, I would love to fly on one day. But I don't think that'll be possible because I fly on a budget, and I don't think my budget will stretch to a Falcon 800 jet, whatever they fly these days. Would be nice. I'd like to fly on a Citation, they're quite popular. But Can only dream and watch others. But let's head downstairs and see what else is on display inside this fantastic aircraft. Walking down here, looks like there's a concept of a shop. But again, with shops and casinos and bars, if people don't spend the money, this is all dead space in an aircraft. But it does show, I suppose, what could be achieved with a little imagination and passengers with very deep pockets. Packet of crisps is about my purchase power on an aircraft. Dear oh dear. But this is the avionics area. This is all the testing equipment. So when they were testing the aircraft, simulating flights and weights, this is how they did it. These are the ballast tanks you can see behind me. And all the equipment here used for measuring the parameters and the performance of the aircraft. Really nice to see they've preserved all of this. It really is interesting to walk through a concept aircraft like this, test aircraft, knowing that all the men who worked in here, testing every inch of every system, have helped make the skies a safer place. And there aren't many museums around the world that can display an A380, let alone a collection of other large jets inside. A second cockpit area here, and the extra pilots here monitoring what was happening on the flight deck during all the testing phases. Quite incredible. Really is quite incredible. You can also see the pipe work there for fuel or perhaps water, moving liquids around the aircraft to where they're needed and to help with ballast as well. And this brings me back into the area I came into. Really is incredible. But let's see what else they've got here, because outside somewhere there's another Concorde. So let's go and take a look at that. All the aircraft in this section are not open to the public, which is a shame. Would have been nice to go inside this Concorde. This is Concorde number 9, and it took its maiden voyage on the 9th of July, 1976. The Concordes really are the most beautiful aircraft to take the skies. Maybe one day another version of Concorde will grace the skies. That would be nice. All the Concordes were produced as part of an Anglo-French cooperation, and they produced one of the finest aircraft that's ever flown. It's nice to see them preserved in museums throughout the world. This really is an incredible museum. I've had such a fantastic time walking around, looking at everything on display. There is just so much to see. And if you're in Toulouse, this must be a priority location to visit. It really is brilliant here. But as I end this video, I'm going to leave you with a montage of some of the other aircraft on display and say thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon from another video from another museum. Thanks for watching.